All right, so I'd like to do I have to make a motion to reconvene?
Yes.
Yeah, let's make a motion to reconvene into regular public session, please.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So we were in executive session to discuss 3 different things, but we only got to 2. We started to discuss negotiations, contract negotiations, and the employment history of a particular individual. No action was taken. So for comments, I just kind of want to say that I'm really happy to welcome Laura Hammond to the table. She officially was here with us last time, but it was kind of like she was thrown in and didn't even know she had to sit at the table with us. I was completely unprepared. It was like, okay, sure. It did great. So tonight is really Laura's first meeting with us, so we welcome Laura. And the board, I feel like the board has a lot of exciting stuff to do. I feel like the next 6 months, like we have some serious work ahead of us. We have the negotiations, we have a budget, we've got lots of stuff to dive into, and I'm feeling good about it. So that's it. I just want to say Happy New Year to us, to all of us, to all of you, and I think it's gonna be great. I'm good. I'm mic'd.
Oh, you're mic'd.
That's for you.
And
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to join all of you and look forward to next 6 months and forward.
Great.
Great.
Thanks. I'm just going to turn it over to Diana because I think there's some exciting stuff for her to share with us.
Yeah. So far, 2016 has been full of some really positive news, and we'd like to share it with you. Today, well, actually yesterday, we received an email, Brian and I received emails from the State Education Department, and it was something that was not expected, totally out of the blue, and we were informed that we were one of 19 schools in New York State who has been nominated as a Blue Ribbon School. And we're in the process of deciding, I should say we have decided, yes, we will accept the nomination. This is the first time I'm aware that nominations are necessary. Most of the time school districts apply for Blue Ribbon status, but we were actually nominated by the State Education Department to the U.S. Department of Education for their National Blue Ribbon Award, and we will have to fill out an application process or grant, as they call it, between now and March 18th. And then between March 18th and November of 2016, a number of different steps occur, and we will be notified in the early fall if we become a National Blue Ribbon School. So we are one of 19 schools in the state nominated. I don't know how many will be accepted by the U.S. Department of Education, but I think it's an honor just to be nominated as far as I'm concerned. So this is a very unusual occurrence. Again, I'm not aware that it's happened before. It probably has, but I'm just not aware. But this is something for us to be very proud of. So it's great news. And we'll keep everyone informed as we go through. And again, we will fulfill the application, get it in by March 18th, and then we'll see where it goes from there. So that's good news. We also were notified that there's a group called niche.com, and our school district has been ranked as the 53rd school district in New York State. Our high school has also been ranked by Niche as one of the top 100, as the 73rd in New York State. They give overall ratings. The district was given an overall rating of A, and the Haldane High School was given an overall rating of A+. So between yesterday and today, we've had a lot of very positive press and some good news coming in, so we wanted to share that. And I don't know if you have any questions about that, any of the ratings or about the Blue Ribbon status, but please let me know if you do.
And I just want to say this is the first exclamation point I have seen on the superintendent's report. After Blue Ribbon School, for anyone who's not looking, there is an exclamation point. That's how exciting this is. And you said it was news to me, like what Blue Ribbon School means, but you said it's like the highest honor that
It
schools
is,
can get. I mean,
and
that's
it's a
kinda-
national honor.
That's huge.
And it's a huge honor, and it's something that you really have to be at the top of your game in order to even be considered as a Blue Ribbon school. So it's the nomination in and of itself is an award. So
And
that's
what
a very
an honor
positive.
for Principal and all of the high school staff, teachers, teaching assistants, aides, our entire staff that makes the high school what it is. Students, parents, community members. Yeah. Yeah, high school parents. We'll give some, there's some high school parents here on the board. But it's like, it's everybody. Yeah.
It's just great news.
Yeah, really great. Okay, congratulations.
Okay, good, thank you. A couple of other things as part of my report. I'd like to remind parents that this Thursday, January 7th at 6 o'clock, we are going to be providing our second coffee that's going to talk about some of our new educational initiatives. We'll be talking about deeper learning, authentic learning, some of the project-based work that we've been doing. And we have a couple of people that will be working with me. Leah Horn will be there with Simon Dudar, and he'll help us share what we are doing within the classroom settings. Originally, right now, we're saying auditorium. It also may be in the cafeteria. We do have some work that we're going to ask our parents to do if they choose to come to hear about this, and so we probably could use the table, so it probably will be moved into the cafeteria. So once again, January 7th at 6 p.m., and we hope you can join us. We'll hopefully take some of the mystery out of the concept of project-based learning and give you a real solid grasp of what it is.
And Dr. Barrett, there was an article in, I think it was the PCNR, like front page over the Christmas week about the PBL pizza unit.
Yes.
There was like a picture of kindergartners on the front page talking about the pizza project, restaurant, PBL stuff. And so I think that it's starting to get out there, right? Like, what is this thing that we're doing? What is this project-based learning? And giving concrete examples of what that means. So thank you to the PCNR for writing that article. And I think that this is just another example. Like, the more we get it out there about what we're doing in a tangible way, people can get excited about it. Yeah.
And that meeting is geared to all level of parents.
Yes. Yep. Okay. Also on January 19th, we have a board work session at 7 o'clock, and we actually have a number of different things that we will be discussing that evening. We'll talk a little bit about the character education that's going on throughout the district, and Mr. Harrington will be sharing what's being done with Second Step, and Daniel Pack McCarthy will be here also to talk about the Haldane Heroes. We will also be sharing some information about our test results that came from the 14-15 school year, how it relates to the Common Core. We also have on here Reform Agenda and Race to the Top, but since neither of them exist anymore, we'll probably strike those from our conversation. And then we also have one of our students that will be honored that evening. So we'd like to invite you to please come and join us. We're also going to be reminding parents that we will be working with the board through the spring, and we will be talking about the book Mindset by Carol Dweck. And then we're looking at having a community read in the spring. We do have the books in. They came in today. We don't have them physically here, but so at the next meeting we'll give those out and we'll start working with those. And that's it for me.
Good stuff. Okay, we're going into the committee minutes. The Buildings and Grounds Committee provided their minutes for us, and it's, I don't know, maybe it's a good thing, maybe, Diana, if you just want to comment on it. There's a lot of stuff in this report about things that we could and should do to upgrade our facilities. And I know that this isn't the final report, right? Mike Tuarty is going to be creating a list of priorities and what does it really cost and et cetera. But I feel like this is like the first glimpse, right, into our 5-year plan, into what we're going to be doing. So maybe you can just talk a little bit about that.
So we hired a firm, as is required by any school district in New York State, to do our building conditions survey, which is done on a 5-year rotation. And our building conditions survey really talks about the different parts throughout the district that need to be considered as far as renovation, upkeep, modifications over the next 5 years. So we have quite a bit to consider. We have some things that are health and safety that will need to be considered sooner than later. Enough of them that we may have to really sit down and talk about how we're going to manage to get that done. And we may be looking at talking about a building project in the near future. And this is, again, for a number of health and safety related issues, as we've been dealing with financial problems over the last 5 or 6 years. The things that we would normally have been keeping as part of building projects or just annual projects kind of went by the wayside because we didn't have the funding. And now what all school districts are finding is at this point we're going to have to start playing catch up. And so a lot of the things that should have been done over the last few years and weren't able to be done are making the list even longer. Mm-hmm. So we do have some things that will be taking priority. We have some things that are health and safety. We have other things that are simply cosmetic. So we'll have to look at the list and get the recommendations and figure out where we're going. So the Building and Grounds Committee can help us make those decisions.
And are you thinking that there might be a possible proposal for this upcoming budget season? Are you ready to kind of go there yet? Or are you not sure?
No, I don't see it as something that's
Imminent?
part of this budget process.
Okay.
Maybe a few annual kind of concerns and updates will be done, but
Okay.
not for the bigger projects.
Okay. Okay, is there any communication from the public at this point? No? Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Thank you. Okay, great. So going into the consent agenda minutes, may I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion.
Second?
Any discussion? This is for the approval of the minutes of the Board of Education meeting held on December 15th, 2015. All those in favor?
Aye.
Consent agenda financial. May I have a motion, please?
Second?
Is there any discussion? Actually, Diana, do you want to just mention, so we have number 7, approval to designate bus 59 as surplus. That may be meaning that we need to then do a bus proposition.
Yeah,
Is that forecasting?
That's forecasting,
Yeah.
just a little bit, but I think that we, in the past, and what we probably will continue to do would be to do a rotational purchase of buses, so we always have a newer bus or a couple of newer buses in the fleet, and as they progressively get older, just replace them. And so I know that the percentage or the number of buses that we've purchased in the past have been greater than what we are now, and I don't know if, Ann, you want to talk a little bit about the amount of or the percentage of expenditures, buses that we purchased in the past as opposed to what we're doing now.
Yeah, there were a couple of years, because of the budget crunch, that we had to remove bus replacement from the budget process. And we're still feeling those ramifications, and that there are some more buses that are needing to be taken out of service because they're just not going to pass inspection anymore. They actually have more value for scrap than they do for trade-in value. We need to catch up a little bit on that, so it's safe to say that we'll be looking at a bus proposition definitely this year and probably the next couple of years, so that we can at least get to the point where we have what we need. Right now, we're down a bus. Mm-hmm. We're looking into some options as to what we can do once the spring sports kick in to make sure that everything is covered that we need to have done. Basically, that's it. That it would be ideal to be at a situation where our buses have a trade-in value, not only does it make our proposition amount lower, but we're trading in buses that aren't at their end of life and that don't need as much repair. So right now we're spending a lot of money on repair, and then when the bus finally has no use at all, we're not getting a whole lot for what we've invested into it. So we're in a lower position than I would really like to be at. And a few years ago, we did have a plan, but financially we weren't able to sustain that plan. But maybe we'll see what we can do going forward. I'm being optimistic, but
Okay.
I always like to.
And if you did a cost analysis of the upkeep for older buses, you would find that it is actually cheaper to continue to buy newer buses because you're not paying so many dollars of value on repairs, and that they become very costly with the older buses. So you may not be buying a new bus, but you're paying probably at least that much, if not more money, keeping the old buses up.
Okay, kind of down the road, yeah. Okay, and then the also on our list here is the Haldane School Foundation's fall grants. So just a note that that's almost $26,000 in fall grants. So a big thank you to the Haldane School Foundation for all that they do, for all the people that contribute financially, volunteer time, and otherwise to make that possible. Looking at the list, it's really impressive. Field trips, technology, devices, it runs the gamut. So a big thank you to them. Any further discussion about our financial agenda? All those in favor? Aye. Consent agenda personnel. May I have a motion, please?
Motion?
Second?
Any discussion? Just a note, Dr. Bowers, do you want to talk about the off-schedule tenure?
Yep. So one of the items on the personnel part of the consent agenda is conferral of tenure for Miss Amy Hopkins, and we'd like to congratulate her, provided that everybody votes in the way I imagine they will. She was discussed in the spring, but because she had a maternity leave, we had to push her tenure till tonight. So even though she's been here for 3.5 years, this is the point at which she can receive tenure.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Congratulations, Amy.
Congratulations, Amy.
Going into unfinished business, school budget development calendar. We reviewed this for the first time last meeting. I don't believe anybody had any changes or anything that was sticking out to them, and I believe we also noted that this can, of course, and may change along the way. It's just important that we get something down as our guideline. Does anybody have any further thoughts, questions about the calendar? Do we feel like we are good with it? Do we want to approve it?
Do we have to approve it as a tentative calendar, or we just go with it as a tentative calendar?
Well, you just approve it as the budget calendar for our upcoming budget season.
We're approving it as the calendar, and if
Yeah.
we need to make any changes along the way, then we just kind of make them.
Yep.
So we can put this on for next meeting because the budget calendar says that it's approved next meeting. So if you approved it today, it'd be a change.
No need to make any, very good. Okay, so we will be approving that at the next meeting then. Very good. Okay. Okay, so the gap elimination resolution. We also talked about this at the last meeting, and we did a little discussion about it via email where we got to, I believe everyone has seen the resolution as it was written, and it was basically the same resolution as the Croton-Harmon one that we saw. I think Linda, or one of the ladies that just kind of implemented our Haldane specific. And it's really a calling to our state government to do away with the gap elimination. And we also talked about it as a springboard perhaps for other organizations like asking the PTA or other organizations to get involved in advocacy. And I don't know, I think that you reached out to the PTA, so you guys have started talking about if they want to join in on that and how. Is that true?
And realistically, by law, the district is not able to advocate themselves. So this is not something that a school district would do, but different groups that are related to the school district are within their rights to do that.
Right, so we can write this resolution, the board can,
Right.
this is totally legal, but we cannot ask other people, like we can't write a campaign to say, hey, everybody, write a letter to your local senators. We can't do that, but we can ask.
And the board is sharing their opinions on the
Right.
situation through the resolution, yes.
Right. Okay, so I think we're all in agreement to go forward with it, yes? Yes? Yes. Great. I don't think I need to really do a vote on that, do I? Do you want me to do a vote on that?
You should. There should be
An official? Okay.
Yeah.
So I'd like to make a motion to decide about the gap elimination resolution.
Second?
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Very good.
So to make a decision that we are submitting this.
Submitting,
resolution,
thank you,
yes. Yeah.
submitting the resolution. Okay, any communication from the public?
Well, I mean, I just said that, Diana, I
Hi.
just wanted to remind you, I'm sorry.
Hello. Hi, everybody. I just wanted to say that at our last meeting, Diana, we had spoken about, you had mentioned, we had talked about the gap elimination resolution, and I had said that, that I thought that it would be a good idea for the HFA to support that as well. So, I'd like to continue to have that conversation and talk about how we can support Haldane and with the, with advocacy for getting that back.
Great,
All right?
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving into new business, the CSE and CPSE recommendations. Julia, do you want to?
Did you want to make a motion first? Or do you want me to read it first?
I think you can read it first.
Okay. The recommended action is that the Board of Education approves the recommendations by the Committee on Special Education and the Committee on Preschool Special Education as indicated.
Okay, can I have a motion, please?
I'll make the motion.
Second?
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, then we're going into, there was a vacancy when Peter Henderson left us. His role was such that he had some assignments. So one was to be the BOE's liaison to the PTA, one was the BOE liaison to the Building and Grounds Committee, and one was the liaison for negotiations. So we as a group need to decide how we want to move forward with that. It kind of seems like, well, his replacement, which would be Laura, would then just filter into those roles, which is something we can do, or we can decide as a board if we want to reconfigure anything. So why don't we start with the Buildings and Grounds Committee. So Margaret, you stepped in December as I'll step in because I know it's important. Thank you.
And it was fascinating.
And it
I
was
would just add that it was absolutely fascinating.
And I should also say that a board of a board liaison doesn't mean you have to attend every meeting. It just means that you attend when you can, and that you create just a relationship with the board chair, the committee chairs, to say, hey, I'm your person. So if you have any questions, if you want me to bring anything up to the board on your behalf, if you want me to attend a specific meeting as a board member, let me know. If you want me to see if we can add something to the agenda on your behalf, let me know. So you just kind of become their person. And when you can attend their meetings, you do. And if you can't attend their meetings, you don't. I know that, I'm the Wellness Committee's BOE liaison. They have meetings at a time that absolutely never works for me. So I don't almost never attend any of their meetings. But I get their committee emails and their minutes, and I dialogue with the chair and let them know if they need anything, they can contact me. So Buildings and grounds.
I
Go
have
ahead.
a quick question. So, just, and maybe Laura knows this, but I didn't know this when I started. Some of these are Board of Education committees. And some of the committees are committees that aren't Board of Education committees, but the Board of Education historically, or has chosen to, I don't know how it happened, has had a liaison. So for example, I'm a member of the Audit Committee, which is absolutely a Board of Education committee. I'm also the board liaison to the Arts Booster Club that I went to today, which is not a board committee, but it's one that I've gone to and in fact have carried some information back or forth, once or twice. And so Building and Grounds is board.
Yes.
Negotiations is obviously a Board of Education committee, but liaison to the PTA probably is
Correct.
not. Okay.
Thank you.
Are you on the PTA board now?
I'm not on the PTA board, I'm just a member.
Yes.
So it would be,
Yeah.
I'd be happy.
So, okay, so Margaret, you were the part of the Buildings and Grounds Committee. Do you want to continue doing that? Do you want to see if Laura wants to do that? Is there anyone else who wants to do that?
Although I found it fascinating, I do think that 3 o'clock on a Monday afternoon is going to present to be a problem eventually.
Yeah. So, Laura, is that something that you feel like you want to
Sure.
assume?
Tackle.
So
Yes.
Monday's the next one.
Monday.
They are an interesting committee this year
It is
because
very-
of the reports that are going on, the 5-year facilities reports.
Well, and you were part of the strategic planning committee,
Right.
right? And
Right.
Buildings and Ground was one of
One
those
of them.
committees, and it just, that issue came
Those-
up, facilities use, I know, came
I
up
mean, I
repeatedly.
was on the finance, but
Yeah.
those issues did come up in
Yeah.
that group,
Yeah.
so.
So it's 3 o'clock
Okay.
on Monday. Mabel Merritt.
And the committee chair people for that are, Diana, are you on the committee
Mike-
chair? Or is
Mike
it Mike
Twardy.
Twardy? Just Mike Twardy. So you can get in touch with him directly, Laura, and, yeah.
Or if you have any questions, Ann or I could step in
Yep.
for that too. We're both part of committee members, but we could help you out there too.
And then there's the PTA. Is that something you also want to assume, Laura? Or is there anybody else who's feeling like they want to assume it? Don't everyone jump at once.
We all took it up.
Okay. I'll
Right,
take that.
everybody took 3?
Yeah,
And I know when those meetings are.
Right.
yeah. And I think that, yeah, it's great. And then the negotiations.
No, my memory was that it was, I thought, was that it was often the president and the vice president who did that, and I don't know, it would make, there's a part of me that thinks that Evan would bring a lot of expertise to that. There's a part of me that thinks that maybe it's not appropriate because it's being a principal, it's a different perspective. And then I also know one of the things that Laura talked so much about when we interviewed her was her experience with negotiations, which was appealing to all of us.
To all of us.
So,
Yeah, I agree. And I think, Evan, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like you've said in the past that it's not something that you are available for.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Again, those are difficult because those are generally after school and so forth. So I would have no problem not doing it. I don't feel the need because as vice president, I think the president should be
Yeah.
at least the president or the vice president.
Okay,
So,
yeah.
but not necessarily has to be both.
Yeah,
So I have no problem not being on that committee.
very good. Laura, do you want to do the negotiations? Do you want to jump right in?
Sure. That's 3. Are we even now?
We are even.
That's it.
Very good.
Does she know about the new board member bringing donuts to the meeting? Did we tell her about that yet? No?
I think you took building and grounds and negotiations, which I think are both really big. And so I actually was trying to think, I have tech, which is important, and the audit. Oh, I do have 3.
I
do
think
have
we
three.
divvied it up pretty
I do
evenly.
have 3.
Yeah, and I think that it makes a lot of sense for you to take on those roles, to just assume people's roles.
And
if you're game.
also, I mean, with the PTA, if ever you can't make it, and you know, you could put it out there. Hey, can anyone go? And you know.
Okay.
Okay, very good. I dare say it, but I'm about to say that this is one of our shortest meetings of all time.
There you go. Boom, boom, boom.
So, I just had a question. The only one that we need to have an action on is that you all agree to the appointment of Laura as the liaison to, for contract negotiations.
Oh, very good. Okay.
I thought for buildings and grounds too. No?
Well, is Jen? Are you already? Do you as well?
No, because I was already
Is you already
appointed.
approved? Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we just need to officially appoint or designate
Laura.
Laura.
Okay.
Put them both in there.
Okay, we'll do.
Okay, so then may I have a motion, please,
Would you like me to
to
read
the appointment? Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so then the recommended action is that the Board of Education appoints Laura Hammond to join President Daley as liaison for contract negotiations and to also serve as board liaison for the Buildings and Grounds Committee.
Very good. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second?
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Oh, sorry.
Just going with Laura, just so with the labor negotiation, just so you understand, it's not as though you're going to go in there and make the decision for the board. You know, you go in there, you come back, we meet in exec session, okay, and then we all say, go back and you got, you know, so got it.
I had a feeling it was that way.
Yeah.
I just, Thanks for the clarification.
Okay.
But the donuts.
Yeah, the donuts I'm serious about.
And we have a lawyer.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Very good. Is there any further communication from the public? Are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? Going once. Go ahead. Andrea.
I just wanted to recognize the fact that I learned today by looking at the agenda that Gail Kroner had put in her her notice that she was going to be retiring at the end of the year, and so I just wanted to publicly state just how wonderful of a colleague and a friend that she has been. And I'm so excited for her, and and I'm sorry that she's going to be leaving at the end of the year, but that's all.
And just once again, accolades to Mrs. Kroner and accolades to Amy Hopkins and to Mr. Ohm, the entire faculty of the high school, the students, staff, parents. It's a great honor.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn, please.
Second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.